Today, I'm going to explain a comedy film called Not Another Teen Movie, which is a parody of several movies like She's All That, American Pie, 10 Things I Hate About You, and more. The story follows the typical lives of several high school students, one of whom decides to take on the bet of turning a rebellious girl into their prom queen. Brimming with juvenile humor, on-the-nose satire, and Chris Evans and whipped cream, this movie paints an exaggerately accurate picture of the madhouse that is high school. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. How do you jumpstart your day? Some people, advertisers specifically, think that you should do it with a hearty bowl of cereal. Meanwhile, others think that waking up at 4 a.m., jogging, and taking a cold shower while reading a self-help book is the way to prime your day up for optimal money-making. Looking at you, IG entrepreneurs who received a small loan of $200,000 from their parents. While these are all pretty okay answers, they don't quite hit the mark, so cue Janie Briggs. In Southern California, teenager Janie Briggs starts off her morning the way it's intended to be, with an adult toy. While Janie's riding on cloud 9, her father, Mr. Briggs, suddenly bursts through her door to greet his daughter happy birthday. He's happy as a clam and is completely unaware that Janie herself is in the middle of clamming down. Then comes her brother, Mitch, her sweet grandparents, the local priest, her kitty friends from the center, and of course, the family dog. With the dog pulling on the sheets, Janie's toy flies up and away, and a scream bursts in everyone's face. Happy birthday, Jenny. Later at John Hughes High, Janie's best friend, Ricky Lipman, talks to her and gives her a mixtape for her birthday, telling her how much he's in love with her. Janie thanks Ricky for the gift, and she casually tosses it inside her locker, which contains all the other tapes he'd previously given her. On the other hand, Mitch and his friends, Ox and Bruce, make a pact to lose their V-card by graduation, even though they're only freshmen. The three boys see their crush, Amanda Becker, and all they can do is stare at her. Meanwhile, the popular jock, Jake Weiler, arrives too, and the girls can't help but fawn over him and throw their underwear at him for Jake to keep. While talking to his friends, Austin and Malek, Jake's sister, Catherine, shows up despite having already graduated years ago. She's attracted to her own brother, and it makes Jake uncomfortable to even talk to her. We're starting out strong with our first look at John Hughes High. You have your trusty best friend, whose middle name is Shrimp without the H. You have the freshman dudes making a pact to bury themselves in a nice American pie before graduation. And you have the guy who gets underwear thrown at him like they're tomatoes in a stand-up night. Oh, and let's not forget his sister who… Moving on. It's all in all just another typical day at school. When Jake's cheerleader girlfriend, Priscilla, shows up, she tells him that she's leaving him for another guy, Les. In the principal's office, Janie is tasked to take a liberated foreign exchange student, Ariola, to her first class. Outside, Jake expresses his disappointment about Priscilla dumping him, and Austin tells him it's because Priscilla is prom queen material. Irritated, Jake says anyone can be prom queen, so Austin suggests he'll pick any girl in school for Jake to turn into a prom queen, betting that he can't do it. Jake agrees, and as they look around for the right girl, they see a hunchback, an albino singer, and even conjoined twins. But Austin thinks all of them will make a decent prom queen. He then spots Janie and tells Jake she's the one, but Jake grounds in frustration, believing she's a hopeless case. In the gym, Mitch and his friends peek in the woman's locker, wondering what goes on in there. Curious, they use the vents to spy on the girls. During their class, Ricky keeps raising his hands until the teacher, conveniently ignoring him, finally lets him read his poem, entitled 10 Things I Love About Janie. The moment he said the title, a very genuine "not again" could be heard from a student before Ricky professes his love for the way Janie drinks, blinks, breathes, exists. He gets emotional when he gets to the part about collecting Janie's hair and turning it into little Janie hairballs, so he gets back to his seat. Back in the gym, Mitch and his friends watch one girl pee. But when she starts doing the number 2, the boys begin to feel sick. Because of a loose screw in the vent, the ceiling gives in and they fall all the way down to the classroom where Janie and Ricky are. The toilet bowl makes a mess of all its contents, spouts out on the teacher and the 3 boys, including the peeing girl. Poor Jake. How could anyone expect him to turn Janie into prom queen? Like the girl has clear skin, asymmetrical face, and a fit body. Whatever shall he do? While we let Jake stew over his monumental challenge, let's have a look at Ricky. Poor guy, he needs a clue, a restraining order, or poetry classes, maybe all 3. But at least he likes Janie even though she wears glasses, a ponytail, and has paint on her overalls. Thanks for the charity work, King. Later on, Jake asks Janie out and tells her she'll become famous in school once they're seen together. Unfortunately, Janie isn't interested in his offer. During their football practice, Jake remembers how he led his team once and caused them to lose. Once their training is over, Jake asks his coach why he didn't let him practice, and the man yells at him that he should be thankful he's still on the team. Sent to detention, Mitch and his friends talk about the pact they've made, but their conversation is cut short when Mr. Vernon enters the room and scolds them for what they've done. Later that day, Jake gets into an argument with his father, Mr. Weiler, and he asserts that he doesn't want to go to Princeton. Mr. Weiler understands where Jake is coming from, and he sympathizes with Jake about his breakup. He then tells Jake that he's got the perfect rebound girl for him, but Jake's excitement turns into disappointment when Mr. Weiler brings his mother, Beverly, inside. At Janie's house, Janie asks her father about what he thinks she should do with Jake, since she's wondering why a popular and obnoxious guy like him would ask her out. Feeling proud that his daughter values his opinion, Mr. Briggs advises Janie to date Jake, even though he only wants to sleep with her. He also adds that his popularity might help Janie in the long run, and Janie thanks her father. So there's some people who would struggle to pour water out of the boot with the instructions on the heel. Case in point, Mr. Weiler and Mr. Briggs. While they're not exactly bad parents, they're either giving their kids terrible advice or completely missing their beat. Some folks just don't know what they're doing. At the Weilers' residence, Jake asks Catherine to help trick Janie into liking him. Catherine seduces Jake, implying she wants them to sleep together, but Jake pushes her away and reminds them that they're siblings. Catherine then agrees to help Jake and eventually tells him the 3 things he should do. First, she tells Jake to earn Janie's trust, but Jake only ends up punching Mitch in the face as he tries to defend him against bullies. Next, she advises Jake to make Janie feel special by singing her a song that has her name in it, but this only makes the security guards think Janie is armed and tases her. Third, Catherine suggests Jake invite Janie to his house, and there, Janie tries and fails to tell Jake to leave her alone. Jake then leaves her to make some snacks, and when he comes back, Jake is already naked with nothing but cherries and whipped cream covering his private parts. However, Janie makes it clear that his tricks won't work on her, then leaves. The next day, Jake and Catherine go to Janie's house for a makeover, telling her that they're going to the party of one of his rich friends, Preston. Catherine simply removes Janie's glasses and ponytail, and as if she just performed a miracle, she presents Janie to Jake and her family. As Janie descends the stairs, she makes a hole in one of the steps and causes half of the whole staircase to collapse and her to fall into the big hole. Catherine's upbringing is a bit questionable. She's attracted to her brother and is completely unbothered that they are blood related. At this point, it's hard to tell whether their parents know about it or not, but it's not surprising if they do, especially after Mr. Weiler tried to make Jake hook up with his mother. Meanwhile, Janie's beautiful side is finally revealed. It was definitely impossible to see with the glasses and ponytail covering it up. After writing a letter to Amanda, Mitch and his friends attend Preston's party. Jake, Catherine, and Janie attend too, and most guests can't believe how different Janie looks. Priscilla gets jealous upon seeing them, and Mitch, Bruce, and Ox freeze at the sight of Amanda. Later on, Janie jumps into the pool after having too much to drink. When Jake finds her and asks her if she's okay, Janie learns that he gave her non-alcoholic beer. As they talk, Priscilla confronts them for being together and tells Janie she'll never stop being a loser. She then pours water on Janie even though she's already wet, so the humiliated Janie runs out of the house. After some time, Jake visits Janie to apologize, and when he sees that Janie is painting, they start talking about how her mother died. Janie tells Jake how hard it was to take over her mother's responsibilities when all she ever wanted was to go to Paris and attend an art school there. Unfortunately, Janie can't afford that, but Jake reminds her that his parents give scholarships to girls who can't pay for their tuition. Janie expresses how much she wishes for her life to turn into a fairy tale, where a guy would come and take her away. Before Janie can finish what she's saying, Jake silences her and tries to kiss her, and Janie does the same. However, things get awkward when their lips don't touch, so Jake excuses himself and leaves. Turning heads at a party when you used to be the biggest school loser? Check. Cat a girl who left her boyfriend, fighting you for being with the boyfriend she left? Check again. Dreaming of going to high school and having your love interest be the convenient ticket to your dreams? Big fat check. All these are elements that'll make you go, oh geez, not another teen movie, upon sight, and you're left to wonder if groaning all the way means that the movie is bad, or if it means that it's a genius parody. At school, Priscilla confronts Janie for the second time, but Janie simply ignores her. Meanwhile, Austin can't believe that Jake wants to forget their bet about Janie. Jake then begins to pursue Janie, and with newfound sincerity, he asks her to be his prom date. Janie, delighted, accepts his invitation, leaving Ricky utterly disappointed. After some time, Jake finally gets the chance to play football again, after one of his teammates gets injured. Before Jake goes to the field, the wise janitor talks to him and advises him to forget about the past and focus on his present. As the crowd cheers, Jake joins his teammates with only a few seconds remaining in the game and makes a bad pass, causing them to lose. After the game, Janie tries to comfort Jake by telling him he didn't let her down even though they lost. As they talk, an injured Austin arrives and whispers something to Janie, making Jake confess about their bet. Janie gets confused and upset, wondering what Jake is talking about, and when she runs away while crying, Austin reveals to Jake that he only pretended to whisper something to Janie. Things aren't looking so hot for Jake now. Maybe he should go to prom with Ricky, and they can be two dudes being bros at the prom, or he could apologize to Janie and set the record straight, whichever goes first. Later on, Jake and Janie contemplate their relationship, with Jake regretting making that bet in the first place, and Janie wondering if she should forgive Jake. She then goes to prom with Austin, where she tries her best to ignore Jake. Meanwhile, Mitch finally gives his love letter to Amanda, who accepts it and tells him she'd be happy to make out with him. Jake gets jealous when Austin and Janie dance, so he asks Catherine to dance with him too. However, Catherine relentlessly tries to seduce him while they dance. She even kisses him in front of Janie, making the latter upset and run away. Jake attempts to follow Janie, but gets distracted after being named prom king, while the conjoined twins are named prom queens. After dancing with the twins, Jake follows Austin and Janie. He even asks Malik where he might find the two. Unfortunately, Ricky stops him and proclaims that he won't just give up on Janie. The two boys rush to the hotel where Janie and Austin are, but sadly for Ricky, he gets hit by a bicycle on the way. Now alone, Jake finds Austin in the hotel, and he's hooking up with a woman there. As he orders him to get off her, Jake realizes that it's Priscilla. He also sees Les in the room, recording everything. After learning that Janie has gone home, he punches Austin and Priscilla for hurting and humiliating Janie. Before he leaves, Jake punches Les for being weird. It's pretty safe to say that Captain Whipped Cream doesn't have the best decision-making skills around, because why would he bring his too-old-for-school sister to prom when he knows she just wants to get nasty with him? Why won't he get a restraining order? Why didn't he actually try to seek Janie out and explain things to her instead of waiting for prom? But that's fine. The runtime would have been much shorter otherwise, and he redeemed himself by Les being weird. Jake goes to Janie's house to apologize to her and learns from Mr. Briggs that Janie has gone to the airport to go to Paris. Ricky desperately tries to follow too, but he's hit hard by a bus this time around. At the airport, Jake begs a line of boarding passengers to let him through so he can catch up to the woman he loves, and they happily let him. When a bleeding Ricky arrives and uses the same excuse to the passengers, they just ignore him and even curse at him. Jake then sees Janie and tries to stop her by hitting her head with a football he snatched from a kid, and to express how he really feels, he summons the power of other iconic teen movie characters by quoting their lines so that they too can have a cute teen movie ending. After Janie mistakes his last speech as lines from Karate Kid, the two of them finally kiss and everyone clapped. Literally, everyone's cheering for them, even Ricky, who spent a long time hounding Janie. There's a lot going on here that's worthy of contention, from Janie somehow being able to go to Paris from out of nowhere, to Ricky surviving all those crashes without knocking out, from airplane passengers who are known for being vicious actually letting Jake through. It's a lot. Everything's absurd because that's what the film is. Being a parody of several teen movies, it can't help but go off the rails at every turn. And despite being satire, that's also life. You win some, but you lose a lot on the way there. And you end up in a bunch of directions that you never expected for yourself, especially when you're navigating the messy world of high school. For all its silliness and absurdity, the movie's still relatable for its bittersweet look at being a teenager. But hopefully, of all the things that did get shown here, we hope that you don't relate to having a Catherine in your family, or getting hit like Ricky twice in a day.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.